created for you, where I have strengthened the ground beneath it for a shrine, I shall make a house to be a luxurious dwelling for myself, plain simple English, and shall find his cult center within it, and I shall establish my private quarters and confirm my rulership, his rulership, not any female living being. Whenever you come up from the Apsu, the sun in the center of Shambhala, for an assembly, your shadow, our resting place, shall be in it, receiving you all. Whenever you come down from the sky for an assembly, your shadow, our resting period, place, shall be in it, receiving you all. Plain, simple English. I hereby name it home of the great Anunnaqi. We shall make it the center. We shall make it the center of devotion. The Anunnaki, his fathers, listened to this command of his, unquote. Now, let us back up a bit to when Marduk said, when you come up from the Apsu, the sun, for those who got lost at that point. See, Apsu is a 600-mile wide sun or star in the center of the earth that was placed there by the Anunnaki. When they repaired the planet Earth after the crash. Then Holy Tablets chapter 6. Holy Tablets chapter 16, tablet 4, verse 136 and 137 states, They have created what is called a star gateway, where they can step through and interdimensionally transport themselves. They are an advanced society and have surpassed people on the surface of the earth in technology, unquote. A star, sun, Apsu gateway, people, a gateway through the star, through the sun. They travel through suns, people. Do you follow? The Anunnaki are etheric beings, and as etheric beings, they can actually literally travel through suns. Fire would not harm ether. In fact, fire is a stage lower in the stage of involution than ether. Fire, ether. As you will see from this excerpt entitled The Course of Involution, on page 36 of the publication, The 9 Principles in Human Beings. It states, for an objective manifestation to occur, there must first be space within which it can do so. Therefore, ether is the element of pure space alone. And to move, you need soul, emotions, a reason to become. Next, there must be locomotion within that space. And this is the element of air, which is motion alone within the space of nothingness, which is in fact something, atoms lighter than hydrogen, known as quarks, vibes, and zeeds or zeals. Next, must come into being the principle of expansion, which is the element of fire, which also causes magnetism. See that? First you had ether or air, which expanded into fire, and this is followed by the principle of contraction, which is the element of water. The fire contracted into water. Finally, the principle of solidity or cohesiveness manifests, which is the element of earth. These principles or elements are often referred to by the Egyptian term mahui, meaning thatness or suchness, merely the English word essence. That means the essence of any quality. These elements are all that there is. In fact, there is nothing else except them in the world of name and the form. They are the foundation of which our total experience is built. And the world of manifestation is composed solely of the elements star earth, moon water, Nifu air, and set fire, unquote. So, there exists mass confusion centered around the life of this supreme being, people. We are dealing here with a level of futuristic advancement that is unheard of. We simply just cannot wrap our minds around these super advanced concepts, people. Even now, some so-called Nubians are still hopelessly lost, left catching at straws, struggling in the wake of this eons in advanced 19th galaxy Ilion planet Rizqa, science and technology. Free Molokai! Free Molokai is the redundant grunt of the Pithecanthropus bishopi. Meanwhile, the Anunnaki Elohim Malachi Zodoka has expanded our mentality by putting everything we need to know in his thousands of scrolls over a 30-year period, 30 minutes. All he asked of us was to study diligently. Read each scroll 7 times. Apparently we didn't listen. We never listened. His constant word is, if you want to hide something from a nigger, you put it in a book. Sad but true. Now, powder. Now, powder. You better listen to Bubba. The Nibiru fleet is definitely homing in. Your chemtrail cloud covering shenanigans, whilst providing you with the false hope you need, to uphold your crumbling society, is also providing terminal lung infections to the public, which you pass off as the worst flu season ever. Shame on you. Else holy in jail. 18:2 says, and he cried with a great voice saying, Babylon the great, Babylon the biggest fallen. The time has now come for the demise of Babylon. the fourth empire of the evil reptilian to come to an end like all others. The evil reptilian. And America has become the dwelling place of demons, a home of the physical malevolent beings, and a prison of every unclean, unholy demon and hateful bird, taking the symbol of the eagle for the nature of a vulture because it is powerful and it kills. Powder. Powder, people, is now the one doing all the mass murdering, people. The homegrown terrorist. Have you not been watching the news? They are not mentally equipped to live in the sun cycle, people. Stay out of their way. They are on mental meltdown. The Anunnaki Elohim Alagai Zodok was even witnessed and documented by Earth's astronomers when he was in the fire stage of his involution. However, it was a green fire or a green light. He told us this in the scroll number 80, man from the planet Rizqa, and I quote, I incarnate into this realm from time to time. My incarnation as a Ilah Mutajassid or Avatar was originally in the year 1945 AD. In order to get here, I traveled by one of the smaller passenger crafts called Sham out of the mother plane called Merkaba on the Biru. In other words, people, he turned his body into a starship, which he started to teach us how to do on page 116 of the same scroll. Then, in 1970 was my time to come in the flesh to start my work of breaking the spell of sleep, called the spell of Leviathan or Kingu, the moon spell or lunatic state of mind, with the power of the Son of Righteousness, Malachi 4:2. Earth's astronomers thought it was a comet, which they called Bennett. Look it up, people. That appeared on June 26, 1970 AD, the opening of the seventh seal, which marked the beginning of the Aquarian age. Unquote. Shamsun speaking, your sun is a star, but it became a sun because it is the center of your solar system. Inosites look towards the sun for life and growth. Satan's star has to compete with the sun and make humankind look towards him instead. A star's mass is measured according to the relationship of the mass of the sun. The sun's mass is equal to 2 by 10 to the 33rd power of G. The symbol M is for the sun's mass. The small dot circle beside the M is the ancient Egyptian hieroglyph for the oneness of Allahu El-Aliyu, the Most High, called the sun disk. It was the universal and all-powerful representative of the life-giving properties of the sun. Thus, this symbol is directly related to its use in the symbol for solar mass. M equals mass, the dotted circle equals sun. 1.4 M is the limit. nuclear fusion is taking place and the process is begun. The hydrogen H4 center of the star is now burning itself towards the exploding 7 cycles of burning, beginning with hydrogen. Are you listening, people? Just remember that H2O is water. 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen combined. Here we see that H4, 2 more atoms of hydrogen is burning in the center of the star. Do you follow? So by dropping or losing just 2 atoms of hydrogen, fire contracts into water. Do you see the deep science of Anu, Alun, Alun El, and the 24 elders? Here, people. The real, live Green Lantern. This reality is why the movie Black Panther is so successful. So cycle 1, hydrogen burning, makes the core grow. At 2 million Fahrenheit, it creates a large core of helium. Cycle 2, helium burning. Reactions begin with helium as the major fuel source. The temperature is 100 million degrees, creating now 2 sources of energy. 1 helium burning near the center, 2 hydrogen burning further out. Cycle 3. Because of helium burning, the core becomes oxygen neon, with neon being the major fuel source. It increases in mass and begins to shrink. All of these phases burning off one element and the production of another takes place one right after another down to the 7th degree. The more it shrinks, the more the temperature rises from 300 million degrees on up, and the nuclear activity is stepped up. Cycle 4, at 600 million degrees, the neon is eliminated and magnesium is produced. Around this core of magnesium, neon continues to burn in its phase. Oxygen is also at the core with magnesium. Now there are a total of 4 phases. 1, oxygen and magnesium. 2, oxygen and neon. 3, helium. 4, hydrogen. Cycle 5. The nucleus shrinks again. Temperature increases to 1 billion and 500 million degrees and begins oxygen burning. Oxygen being the major source of fuel. This builds silicon and other heavier metals excuse me, which feed the burning process. Cycle 6. The phases are increased to 6. Silicon nucleus, magnesium burning, neon burning, oxygen, neon and carbon, helium burning, and hydrogen burning. Once oxygen burns out, the nucleus shrinks again, and the temperature rises to 100 million degrees plus. In excess of 100 million degrees, radiation production steps up to 2 rays, gamma rays, and pressure increases to 100 trillion pounds per square inch. The intense radiation strips the nucleus of particles, forming other metals. Cycle 7. The silicon core creates iron. The core shrinks again and the temperature continues to rise. There are now 7 phases or regions encircling and inclusive of the nucleus. 1, iron burning. 2, silicon burning. 3, oxygen burning. 4, neon burning. 5, carbon burning. 6, helium burning. And 7, hydrogen burning. The inside of the star more or less resembles an onion. The higher the temperature rises, the faster the core shrinks. At 500 million degrees, the iron changes back to helium. Thus is completed the changing of 554 million tons of hydrogen into 550 million tons of helium, with a loss of only 4 million tons of material mass in the process. The nucleus is now too small to maintain itself. It cannot any longer produce the energy it needs to maintain the pressure required to stabilize it with the gravity of the star. The gravity of the star overcomes the pressure at the core, and the star collapses. The sudden collapse raises the temperature dramatically, and because it's too weak to produce the energy it needs to burn off more material and balance the rising temperature, it explodes. In the seventh cycle of the evolution of this star, it shatters, blasting bits of itself out into the furthest reaches of space, not destroying, but multiplying itself by hundreds of thousands, dispersing into space as interstellar gas and the dust. The gas is mostly hydrogen. At 2 million degrees Fahrenheit, nuclear fusion begins, and many more stars are born. The sons of Satan, born again. They themselves are little centers of attraction to wickedness and the law of sin. The escape velocity of these bits of gas is 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers per second. The radiation rate is 200 million times that of the sun. What ignorance can be greater? What ignorance can be greater than to pretend to be ignorant of Allahu El-Aliyu, the Most High, the Creator, the Rab, sustainer of all the knowledge in the universes. Humans look at his body, the wonderful organism that works in the most superb way and uses it to achieve his own existence. Yet Inosites overlook the engineer that designed and produced this machine, the original creator, who made this unique living being of lifeless earth, black mud, carbon, calcium, sodium, and more, and put evolution into motion. He witnesses a superb plan in the world, but ignores the planner. Allahu El-Aliyu, the Most High, planned every facet in the universe. No questions about what's right or wrong. If they believed in Allah, Allahu El-Aliyu, the Most High, and had faith, there would be no doubt. All the prophets of Allahu El-Aliyu was sent to guide Inosites. They knew it is law for Inosites to wear the holy garb. This is the dress that is mentioned in the scroll of Revelation, the first degree and the 13th verse, which states, and in the middle of the 7 gold candlesticks was one who resembled the Messiah, the adopted son of Mary, daughter of Joachim and Hannah, a male living being, not the Messiah Jesus, but the Anunnaqi Elohim Al-Qaizadok, who clothed in a long outer garment down to his feet, and he had a sash like belt of gold around his chest. The sash or girdle that was worn around the waist is the dress of the righteous. Is this a distinction between the faithful and the kafir? The faithful know that it is law not to cut off all of your beard, nor the corners of your head, and prohibited in all scriptures to partake in intoxicants, as fishers of men, a true disciple casts his line, propagate the words of Allahu al-Aliyu, the Most High, fishes out, reaches for those who are seeking the truth, and reels them into the tabernacle of the Most High. But for a person who knows the law, are you listening, people? And is not teaching it, he seeks to deceive, to cover over, to ride a thing, to cheat, to dupe, to mislead, but mainly to double cross. In their hearts, they shortchange others in truth by confounding truth with falsehood. All will return to Allahu al-Aliyu, the Most High. Humankind and human being, unquote. This was taken from Holy Tablets, chapter 6, tablet 15, verses 458 through 532. It was added to this video so that you may appreciate, recognize, and realize the power of this etheric being, who in his etheric form is more powerful than the sun in our solar system. So, you might as well go ahead and throw away all your Flash, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, and all the other leper superhero comic books and movies. Throw them in the trash, powder. Because that's what they are. Trash. A figment of your imagination. Now continuing with the scroll number 9, Science of Healing, on page 97. And we read, the third eye was the focal point through which the forces of construction and destruction were individualized. You may have seen the 1,000-petaled lotus. The 1,000-petaled lotus, used in many art forms. The Hindus selected the 1,000-petaled lotus to represent the highest inner development man could attain. The lotus unfolds with the coming of dawn. With the coming of dawn, just as man's consciousness unfolds. The eye of Haru Horus, used in Egyptian ceremonies and worn as a talisman, represented the power of the son of Asaru, Osiris. The symbol was believed to possess the power to ward off evil. The eye represented the son of Asaru himself as the supreme being. The third eye is accepted by many people as a symbol of a deity, include the Amorite and the Nimrod, including the Masonic Lodge And the Christians who sing old hymns such as "There is an old seeing eye watching you." Long ago, even though the third eye was considered man's spiritual eye, it could see on the physical plane. It was capable of extending vision to distant points. It could see the various planes of life from physical to spiritual, and it was a transmitter of thought as well as sight. When the third eye is used, the physical viewpoint is not used, but the spiritual viewpoint. The whole body becomes filled with light. The whole body means the physical body and the etheric body. In order for this to be done, the activity in the seat has to be developed. The development is through meditation, breathing exercises, spiritual deeds, and sincere spiritual teachings. There are two glands that are important to opening the third eye. The pituitary gland, which is the negative and feminine, it is associated with the spiritual and the psychic center, the mirror or the brow seat. And the pineal gland, which is positive and masculine, it is associated with the crown seat. First, we will discuss the pineal gland. This word is from pinea, which refers to a pine cone shape, and it is the size of a pea. It is said that the pineal gland resembles the embryonic optic nerve. Holy Tablets, chapter 6, tablet 7, verse 151, in part states, see, hear, taste, smell, feel, and the higher four, clairvoyance, intuition, telepathy, and psychometry, all from one, activated from the pineal gland, which triggered the higher senses through the melanin, unquote. So extended out from the pineal gland is a tiny hair-like projection vibrating at tremendous speed. When the projection vibrates at a higher speed, it vibrates at a frequency that is common to one of the planes. The plane whose frequency the vibration is common with is the plane the person becomes in tune with. Before puberty, the pineal gland has spiritual functions, being the center from which radiates the mental and spiritual powers of the soul. During the first 7 years, children live by impulse, intuition, and instinct. At this time, the third eye is predominantly opened, and the oversoul or etheric body